This video contains Sylvest law of inertia. So what is the statement in the beginning? Given a real symmetric matrix A, there is an invertible matrix T such that TAT dash is equal to a matrix, a block matrix which contains first IR, then minus IS, then 0T. What is this IR? Where IR and IS are respectively R cross R and S cross S unit matrices, and where the 0T is the T cross T 0 matrix. Okay, so the integer R plus S, which is the rank of A, and R minus S, which is the signature of A. So this is how rank and signature is defined. In a quadratic form, rank is defined as number of negative element of the matrix, like diagonal elements, and number of positive elements. You already know the definition, right? What is signature and rank? So now you can just check. If you want any matrix, how will tell a rank of the matrix? Number of non-zero rows. So this one is 0 row, and we have number of non-zero rows in these two only. So that will be R plus S, which is the rank of A, and R minus S, which is the signature of A. So now characterize the congruence class of A. Okay, this one characterizes congruence class of A. That is, two real symmetric matrices are congruent if and only if they have the same rank and signature. So what we are going to prove is, we have given a symmetric matrix A and there is an invertible matrix T such that TAT inverse is equal to this one. But what is TAT inverse? So TAT inverse will be some other matrix B such that B and A are congruent. So that is the definition of congruence which we have here. Two real symmetric matrices A and B are congruent if there is a non-singular real matrix T such that B is equal to TAT in TAT dash. So we got TAT dash as a diagonal matrix. So I can take it as some other matrix B or D. So D will be congruent to A. So now actually what we have to the next line here, it says that is two real symmetric matrices congruent if and only if they have the same rank and signature. It means, so whatever T you take, T or T dash you take, this matrix will be unique and it does not depends on T. So change the T, okay, change the T, and A will be similar to some D. D will be, let's say D is equal to some other invertible matrix S. So S A S inverse will be there, S A S dash will be there. So still this D will be same, the same D will be there. It means it does not depends on S or S dash or T dash, the invertible matrix. It depends only on rank and signature of the matrix A itself. That's what we are going to prove. So this one is same for different T you take, or different invertible matrices you take. Okay, so we have to first show this type of matrix exists. That is, like for different T or different invertible matrix, this type of matrix exists. So that's what we are going to prove in the beginning. So how to construct that? Since A is a real symmetric matrix, its characteristic roots all are real. So we had like, I don't know we proved for you or not, but for any symmetric matrix, its characteristic roots is always real. That condition is there. Okay, that proof is there. or that theorem is there. So let lambda 1, so if it is real, there are three chances. One is characteristic roots are 0, other than that is positive, then negative. So these are the three choices you have for a characteristic root. So let lambda 1, lambda 2 till lambda r be positive characteristic roots, and minus lambda r plus 1 dot dot till minus r plus, lambda r plus s is negative characteristic roots. Then there may be some zeros. Then by the discussion of the end of the section 6.10, we can find real orthogonal matrix C. So we'll go for 6.10, is somewhere here only. 1 minute. So 6.10 is this. So what is there in 6.10? What we have assumed and proved? We have assumed that a real symmetric matrix can be brought to a diagonal form by an orthogonal matrix. Okay, that's what we assumed there. So we use that here. So by discussion at the end of the section 6.10, we can have some orthogonal matrix C such that CAC inverse, because C is an orthogonal matrix, I can write C inverse is itself C dash, so I can write CAC dash will be equal to this matrix. That's what we got in the last section. You can go back and see the section 6.10, where the diagonal elements are lambda 1, all these positive elements, positive characteristic roots, then negative characteristics roots, and zeros. Where what is T? So if you have that this matrix is n cross n matrix, if this matrix is n cross n matrix, then the type T will be total n. So if n cross n matrix, you will have total n diagonal elements. Where it is? So if it is n cross n matrix, you will have n diagonal elements. So where these elements are some r, and these elements are s, because r plus is there, yes, and the remaining one will be t. So total n minus r minus s will give me, n minus r minus s will give me this t. So that many 0 rows should be there here. These all zeros, not zeros, it. Okay, sorry, here 0t. So these many 0 should be there. So let D be a real diagonal matrix shown in the figure. So let be this a diagonal matrix D. So how D is defined? They have taken 1 by root of lambda 1, like all these elements, 1 by root of that. And for here they did not take the negative but the positive, this lambda r plus 1, 1 by root of lambda r plus 1 till 1 by root of lambda r plus s. And the remaining element which has T rows will be taken as identity mapping. So this is how we define D. Now what we'll do is, for this matrix we know this is CAC dash, right, where C and C dash are orthogonal matrices. So if CAC dash is like that, I'll multiply D and D dash from both the sides for CAC dash, D from left hand side and D dash from right hand side. So I am multiplying the same matrix on both the sides of this matrix. So since these are row matrices only, all three are row matrices only, if you multiply any two rows, what happens? Only row elements will be multiplied, rest all will be same, 0 0 0. So in one place, like in the first row, let's say the first element will be in terms of D will be 1 by root lambda 1, the second element will be lambda 1 itself, and third element once again will be 1 by root lambda 1. So if you multiply 1 by lambda root lambda 1 into 1 by root lambda 1, what it will be? these two things cancel with this, you will get just 1. So same thing happens for all the elements till here, till 1 by root of lambda r. And how many rows are there? The one elements r rows are there. So you will get IR because all the elements are 1. You got a block matrix IR. Now same way, if I multiply these elements, or when I multiply the same D from both the sides for this matrix, what happens for these elements? Lambda r plus 1 get cancelled with the root of lambda r plus 1 into root of lambda r plus 1, but minus signs remains for throughout here for these many elements. So I will get minus into is, because s elements are there here, r plus 1 to r plus s is there, so s elements are there after r, so I will have minus is, minus into identity mapping which have s rows and s columns. Then what is remaining? Since it is a zero matrix, zero elements in the diagonal here, multiplied to it will give me 0 itself, so I got 0t. So this is something like, what we got is, we got a matrix which we needed here. That is a kind of matrix. But here we had TA T dash, and here we have DCA C D dash, C dash D dash. So suppose if I take DC is equal to T, if I take T is equal to DC, then T dash will be equal to C dash D dash. So this will be T dash and this is T, and it is similar to a matrix of this kind. So thus there is a matrix of required form in the congruence class of A. So we till now we have just proved there exists something like this, some matrix of this kind. Now what is our task? Our task is now to show that this is the only matrix in the congruence class of A. That is to say, it does not depends on your DC and C dash D dash or some other element you take. It only depends on the rank and signature of the matrix A itself. You can have different DC or T, but you'll have the same kind of matrix. So we'll prove this with the contradiction method. Suppose uh, okay, suppose we have two things, like two matrices L and M, which have R different than R dash and S different than S dash. It means number of rows in this identity mapping is different than number of rows in this identity mapping. Same as here also, number of rows in this identity mapping is different than number of rows in this identity mapping. This will be, even this can be different, number of 0 rows. So actually what we have to prove is, if these two things are there, or R and R dash are same, S and S dash are same, T and T dash are same. But suppose if it is not true, then we'll go with that. Suppose that M is equal to TLT dash. That is to say, these two matrices are congruent, or it belongs to congruent classes. It will be true because if you have any other matrix with this, let's say B, then B and A are congruent. Same way, in second case, if I have M, if you have L, it is congruent. Instead of B, if you have L, it is congruent. Instead of M also, it is congruent. Maybe different T will be there. There is the only difference there. So even M and L will be congruent only. So I can have some invertible T such that M is equal to TLT dash. So by lemma 6.1.3, which says that if two matrices are congruent, then its rank will be equal. Okay, which says that if two matrices are are congruent, then its rank will be same. So 1 minute. Okay. So rank of M equal to that of L. Both have the same rank. Since the rank of M is equal to N minus T dash, how? See, M is defined by this, and if you see number of non-zero rows, it is like R dash and S dash, R dash plus S dash. But if I have total the dimension, this one is N cross N matrix, then what is that non-zero rows? Is nothing but the number of rows is N minus this T, remaining one will be equal to N minus T. Okay, here it is N minus T dash, okay, because T dash is given, N minus T dash will be the rank of M. In same way, what is the rank of L? Rank of L will be, if it is the total dimension is N minus T. So now these two will be same. How? That is because the rank is said to be same, and rank is nothing but number of non-zero rows, and number of non-zero rows we have removed N minus T. If the rank of these two are same, then that number should be same. N minus T dash should be equal to N minus T, because N minus T dash is the rank of M and N minus T is the rank of L. But N is same, both the dimension N is same, so N get cancelled and I get T is equal to T dash. So till now what we have proved is the number of zeros here, both the places are same. So that is the first thing we did. We have to do two more things. So suppose if it is not equal, then what it? Either it should be less than or greater than. So without losing generality, we'll take R is less than R dash. So that's what we'll take, R is less than R dash. Now since the total dimension of this whole thing, that is, if you have n cross n matrix, the total number n, the dimension of the vector space, will be equal to R plus S plus T, the number of rows in this, number of rows in this, and number of rows in this, same as R plus S plus T dash, because both n is same, the total number of rows will be same, that is n only. And since T is equal to T dash, we can reduce this whole equation. So this will become nothing, and given R is less than R dash, so to match this equation, what we will have, R, if R is less than R dash, then S will be greater than S dash. That is to match this whole equation. So let U be a subspace of Fn of all vectors. So now we are taking, see why we are taking Fn, because the whole whatever elements in this matrices, we take it from Fn itself, a vector space or some, yeah. So now let U be a subspace of Fn of all vectors having the first R and last T coordinates 0. So they have defined what is U itself. What is U? The vector in U is looks like this, having the first R and last T coordinates 0. So if you have some small u belongs to capital U, and how U looks like, U will be something like the first R rows, first R and last T coordinates, first R rows, so this will be 0 0 0 till some R, then it starts some element, let's say it may be U R plus 1, U R plus 2, U R plus 3, dot 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 till ur plus s, then once again all the elements are 0. That is how a vector looks like. I'll write so once again here. It will be like 0 0 0 0 0, then u r plus 1, u r plus 2 till u r plus s, then once again zeros, total t zeros here once again. So this is how a point u which belongs to capital U looks like. So since now here also the all other elements are 0, therefore the dimension will be which is here number of non-zero elements, because all the vectors looks in the same way. So this will be the dimension, and there are s elements there, so u is a s dimensional and u is not equal to 0 in u. Okay, so if it's like we are taking u is not equal to 0 in u, then ul comma u will be less than 0. How? What is this? This is a quadratic form, and ul comma u will be something like, first you multiply u with l, so u will be given in this form, whatever we just talked about. And what is l? L is the matrix, this matrix. So if you multiply u and l, I told only these things is multiplied, rest all is 0, because u is something like beginning all elements are 0, only these elements which are there, like only which can be multiplied with is is there, rest all once again comes 0. Here only u1 ur plus 1 ur plus 2 till urs is there, only that element will be multiplied to is. So if you multiply to is, you'll get a negative number, right? Because minus is a negative number, and if you take u as a positive, all this u1 u2 ur1 ur plus 1 ur plus 2, all this as positive number, when you multiply it will become a negative number itself. Then I'll multiply with u. Okay, I'll multiply with not multiplying, taking inner product with u. It's something like multiplying itself. It will be a dot product, ul dot u itself. So once again, if u is positive, negative number which have ul is multiplied with u will give me a negative number itself, which is less than 0. Suppose the elements which are told ur plus 1 ur plus 2, all that are positive, then the same way u into l will become like, if all u will be negative, then u into l will become a positive number, but after once again when you take inner product, it will become negative number only. So totally this will be a negative number. You can just check with the how u is constructed, multiply with l, and once again multiply with dot product with u, you will get this which is less than 0. So now we will define one more subspace W in Fn itself. So this is how it is defined. This is defined like r dash plus 1 comma r dash plus s dash till r dash plus s dash, components are all 0. Rest all will be there. So this is defined in terms of this dimension, because we are dealing with m now. So how this is defined? Let's say there will be some w belongs to w, and w looks like this, where the first elements are there. So this will be like w1 comma w2 comma till wr is there, r dash is there, then all 0 0 0 0. How many times? Like this many elements, s dash times zeros. Then you'll have t dash times some other number, maybe wr plus s plus t, s plus 1, and wr plus s plus 2, and so on till wr plus s plus t. That element is also there. The middle elements are these elements are, that is r dash plus 1 to r dash plus s dash components are 0 here on W. So what will be W into M? So I have to multiply this vector W into M here. So since the middle elements are 0, these things will become, when you multiply that, oh, it's gone. So when you multiply that, which is like, the first elements are there, these elements are there, then zeros will be there, then once again these elements are there. So first these elements can be multiplied, these elements can be multiplied to IR dash, these element when you multiply to minus IS dash it will become 0 only, these elements when you multiply to 0t, once again it will become 0 only. So only the beginning terms will be there, IR dash to the first few terms which I had. So since IR dash is always positive and it completely depends on the elements which are there here. So this is a vector which I am showing. So it depends on that only. If it is positive, Wm will become a positive number. Multiply inner product with W itself, once again it will be positive. If W is negative, W into M will be a negative value. Inner product with once again negative value will give me positive value. So it will be always greater than 0 itself. So W into M comma W, which is a quadratic form, even this one is a quadratic form, here it is greater than 0 for any W belongs to W. Now since T is invertible and since W is of n minus s dash dimension, how? So if you see here, so if you see here, these many elements, which are, how many elements are there? S elements are there, are 0. Rest all terms are there. So total terms are n. In a, this is a n tuple because Fn is there, F power n is there. So n tuple. So total number of elements are n, and total number of non-zero elements will be n minus s because only s elements are 0. So n minus s will be the dimension of W here. Okay. So T invertible, and since W is n minus s dash dimension, Wt is also n minus s dash dimension because T takes, if T is a invertible transformation, it takes basis into basis itself. So number of elements will be same because it is need to be invertibles, right? It had to come back, so dimension will be same here. It should be 1 1 and onto, it cannot be just onto. Okay, so W is n minus s dash dimensional. So now for W belongs to W, and we already had Wm is comma W is greater than or equal to 0. Now I replace this m by the thing we had here, TLT dash. So I took W into TLT dash comma W, which is greater than or equal to 0. So that is same as inner product of WTL comma WT. Once again, how? We can just find for some matrix this answer, and that will be equal to this. That is taking multiplying W into these three matrices TLT dash, then taking inner product with W is same as first multiplying W to two matrices TL and multiplying W to T matrix T and then taking inner product. Both are the same because here T dash is there, when it comes to here it will be just T. So it will be greater than 0. So therefore on WT, WTL comma WT is greater than 0. The same thing is repeated here for all elements. Now what is the dimension of WT plus dimension of U? So dimension of WT we have just got, that is n minus s dash, and dimension of U this is wrong. It should be S only. This is wrong, not R. A mistake here. It should be S because W is S dimensional one. It is given here. Sorry, U is S dimensional one. So dimension of U will be S here. The next step it is given same is properly. They have rearranged it. If it is S, N plus S written together minus S dash. So now S minus S dash will be greater than 0. Why? In the beginning we have assumed that R is less than R dash. To make it proper, S should be greater than S dash. So S minus S dash will be greater than 0. So S minus S dash will be greater than 0 here. So N plus S minus S dash will be greater than N itself. So if S minus S dash is greater than 0, N plus some value will come which is greater than N. A positive value comes, will be greater than N. So what we have did is dimension of Wt plus dimension of U is greater than N. But by corollary of lemma of 4.2.6, Wt intersection U is not equal to 0. Then what is the corollary says? Actually corollary says the dimension of, okay, I'll write from here, dimension of A plus B is equal to dimension of A plus dimension of B minus dimension of A intersection B. That's what it says. So here what is dimension of A? The dimension of A, the matrix A is here, is not matrix A. The dimension of A will be Wt and B will be U. So dimension of Wt plus dimension of U will be given by this. Okay. And dimension of A plus B. Dimension of A plus B, here something like it's going beyond the whole dimension itself. The whole dimension is N and it's going beyond that. It cannot go beyond that by adding these two things. Okay, by just adding these two things, if it is going beyond that, then to correct that there should be something like dimension of A intersection B. There is like minusing by dimension A intersection B. So dimension of A intersection B cannot be empty. That is what they told. Here A is Wt and U is B. So Wt intersection U cannot be equal to 0 or 0 set. Okay. But this however is nonsense, because if you take x not equal to 0 belongs to Wt, you can just rewrite this. Is better way of writing is 0 not equal to x belongs to Wt intersection U. Okay, that is the better way of writing, because we are telling a point x which is not equal to 0 belongs to Wt intersection U. If you look like this, it will be like 0 belongs to Wt intersection U and 0 is not equal to x. It looks like that, but we are telling there exists some x which is not equal to 0 belongs to Wt intersection U by this condition. If on one hand, so if x is not equal to 0, then xl comma x by this condition, if u is not equal to 0, ul comma u will be always less than 0, and if u is not equal to 0, even by this wm comma w will be greater than 0. So if you use that two things, for x not equal to 0, what will get? Xl comma x will be less than 0 while being in Wt, and xl comma x is greater than equal to 0. This is a mistake. This is xm comma x is greater than 0. So which is not possible, because in one place it is less than 0 for the same vector x when it belongs to u, and the same the vector when it belongs to Wt, it is greater than 0. The quadratic form is greater than 0, which is not possible. So thus r is equal to whatever we thought is is wrong. R is equal to R dash and S is equal to S dash. The rank R plus S and signature is R minus S. Of course, determine R and S, and so T is equal to this one. Determine the congruence classes. So it depends on R plus S and R minus S. So that finishes this theorem.